You don't think I learned all those, you know, just no. Sorry.
He's trainable.
I am trainable.
All right, well, welcome everybody. My name is Meryl Krich. I'm the program director here at Galvanize. Essentially, my role is equivalent to what would be a dean at a typical traditional university. I oversee all educational products that happen here on the Phoenix campus. Who's ever been to Galvanize before? Yeah. Okay. This is Diana Bowles, our general manager. I'm glad you've been here. For everyone who hasn't been here then. So Galvanize is a learning community for technology. So everything that happens on a Galvanize campus is meant to bring industry and education together. Our two main facets of education, I think you'll find here today as part of this panel, is because we offer educational products for people who want to learn here on the campus. They all are, we have one blended online class that we offer, but most of ours are brick and mortar training in web development and data science, so we are in the tech space. We also offer enterprise educational offerings. So we actually do have an entire enterprise educational team that works with companies to do things like upskilling, reskilling, motivating employees. So as we see the transitions of what's happening in this now skills-based economy and what the companies have, which are already these fabulous employees, but the skill sets that are needed to truly move them into the next part of their success, and bringing those things together, and we're kind of that bridge to make sure that they have those skills in order to be able to continue their longevity with the company, to maintain that talent that they've already found, and then of course to provide new talent, which is my thing for overseeing education. So welcome to Galvanize. If you have any questions on Galvanize or anything, feel free to find me later. I'll be Brent. Oh, my story.
Yes.
My story.
Give us a little origin story.
That's a Galvanize story. I love it.
Now our favorite part.
No. So I'm not an Arizona native. I'm a military brat and moved all across the U.S. to some very not so fun places. And one of which, the one the family hated the most, was South Dakota. And thank God my father was smart enough after 1 year of that to say, transfer me now, or my wife is going to divorce me. None of us liked it. So we got transfer papers, and the transfer papers said, you're going to Alaska. To which my father then called back and said, yeah, try again. And we landed here in Scottsdale, Arizona. He said, fine, desert or crucible. We'll go to the desert, it's fine. So I've been here now about 20 plus years. I've been in higher education for about 15, the majority of which was with DeVry Education Group. Phenomenal company. Really appreciate the diversity of what education brings to their demographic and their students. But having heard that Galvanize was coming to Phoenix and meeting the team and the vision of what industry and education look like together, I couldn't help myself and transitioned here, and it's been amazing ever since.
Awesome. And that is the reason why we're here at Galvanize, actually. So if you're curious as to, wow, why was Brent's idea to have an event in a place like this, like what was he thinking? There was some method to the madness. I was very encouraged by Galvanize when I first saw it as well, and when I started hearing the staff talking about it as a learning community and a learning center and a place to bring all these people together, it just kind of felt like this was exactly the type of place that the community that Luis and I had started around TLDC, and that was exactly the kind of place we needed to be and get connected. So as a community, a local community of professionals, I really was excited that Amy was able to get this hooked up and bring you in to talk about it, because I think there's a lot of, I want to get back to Adele and Tammy as well and talk about the types of disruption. I know we talked on the panel yesterday a little bit about disruption. We talked in other classes about things going on in the industry and what's happening. But I really want to dig into the tactical stuff, right? The real things that you're struggling with. And we'll try to keep it local, right? I mean, and talk about, what's happening in this Arizona market right now. Let's start with some of the challenges, some things that you see. So either what you're hearing from your customers, or what you guys are going through, right? Or what you're experiencing in your workplace. And then let's move into that solution space shortly after that and see, either what it is we can do to help or share those stories of success also that you've had in Arizona and seen, and the value that the local community can bring. So Adele, do you want to let's start with just those struggles, just identify maybe some of the difficulties that or the disruptions, I guess is the hip word that we're using.
Okay, so I would say that we have one major disruption that leads to a whole bunch of really great challenges, and then I have the people problem. So our major disruption is that when Governor Ducey came on board a couple of years ago, he decided that we were going to move all of the state agencies onto a lean management system, which is a fantastic idea. They've already reduced the amount of time people have to wait at the MDD. We're working on that sort of thing in my agency at the moment. Completely different from anything that we've ever done before. People tend to think of the public sector as we're very staid, we're very solid, you can't make any change, which isn't true. We're changing all the time. We just don't seem to get anywhere. So, putting in a lean management system, which is, they're calling it the Arizona management system, is actually a really great thing for the city, but it's massive disruption. It requires a completely different type of leader, And traditionally in government, we've promoted people because they're really good at the job. Your accuracy is 100%. You're now the supervisor of these people that you were peers with yesterday. And really great individual contributors aren't necessarily the best managers. So we have a challenge in that our leader core isn't as strong as it needs to be, particularly in this lean management space where everything's about personal relationships. That means that we have learning challenges around leadership training. We expect our individual contributors to do problem solving. Shoot, DES, you don't want to solve a problem because you might get it wrong and wind up in the newspaper, right? What if I innovate? What if I experiment? And somebody doesn't get their food stamps, nutrition assistance. I call it food stamps in general, public assessment. Somebody's going hungry because I was experimenting. What if I'm using a new process and we wind up not investigating a case of elder abuse? So there are all sorts of things that just naturally tamp down on natural innovation. And we, as a culture in the state, have always been about risk avoidance. So now we have to completely change the culture. Completely and totally change the culture in order for us to be able to use lean to accomplish our missions. And my challenge from just in my microcosm is, you may have heard that state government doesn't pay particularly well. You would be correct. And so, instructional designers can get, what, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in the private sector, something like that. They're lucky if they make 50 at the state. And so getting in people who are incredibly talented, who do all of the cool stuff that this community is doing, getting those folks in is very, very difficult. Because the pay isn't there, but also, oh God, government is so stodgy, and you don't have all the tools, and what am I going to do? And it's really not sexy. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying So yeah, there's some challenges. I like to say, we're in a box, right? But what I want are people that are up against that box and bulging that box out, and maybe at some point they pop the box out. And to do that, we've got to bring in new talent who are up to date and finding a way to really make this an engaging and make the work meaningful to somebody is our constant challenge. We have that purpose.
And I'm just gonna throw it out there, so are you hiring
Yes.
right now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
How do you do this when the private sector is offering upwards of 6 figures when you're not able to match half that?
Right. So, a couple things we do. So I'm the chief learning officer. So the culture of our learning function, which is about 120 people, is mine to set. And I have tried to set a culture that is affirming, that is kind, that rewards innovation, and that allows people to do what they do best on a daily basis. I'm not really a micromanager. I have structure, a lot of structure, because quality is really important to me. But you've got the freedom to kind of do it your own way as long as you're getting that quality. So creating a culture that is appealing is really important to me. There are perks to working in government that are not available in the private sector. There is more stability in government. So if that's what you like, this is a good place to be. We have fantastic benefits, which doesn't really matter too much to the person coming right out of college, but maybe late 20s, early 30s, blood pressure medicine, all that kind of stuff. That's a perk. But I think what is our greatest draw is that sense of purpose. For me, it's all about my people and the people we serve. People. And so you get people who are coming out of educational institutions, out of this experience where community service and communities, I guess community service is what I mean to say, is so incredibly important. When my stepdaughter was going through high school, they needed, they had to do a certain number of hours of outreach and so on. So you get people who are coming out with that experience. Come to government, you're going to get that experience every day, all day, and particularly in my agency, we are helping people so there's 7 million people in Arizona. We touch the lives of 2.2 million. So those are people who are vulnerable, people with developmental disabilities, people who just need help finding a job, people who've gotten laid off and need unemployment insurance, non-custodial parents who need their child support enforced, adult protective services. So that's what our agency does. I got goosebumps. You don't get that sense of purpose in any other state organization. So I think it's the intangibles. It's a really, really, really long answer. It's the intangibles that draw people to us. And we try to pay them better, as we can, but it's that sense of purpose that brings people to us.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that too. So, so if we move into the financial sector, Tammy, and talk a little bit about that, that disruption in that space. You have been chatting, I think you said there's over 200 instructional designers or trainers of some sort across the Wells Fargo ecosystem. Yeah, it's a really big collection of professionals in our space. How does that look from where you sit within the company as far as the disruption, or are they all in Arizona? To kind of keep this on an Arizona local focus, is that do you have like certain segments of it here, or is it kind of a nationwide thing, or they spread out, and then how do you deal with those challenges?
Well, what's very interesting is very much like your experience with your contacts. You said you know people all over the country, but not many here. That's been my experience at Wells. Now, I've been there 2 years, so I don't have a lot to draw on. But we're anywhere from the East Coast to the West Coast. So we have our primary home offices in San Francisco, but that's a lot of the executives. We don't have a lot of folks at my level. In San Francisco, you can't afford to live there. Our kind of sub-home office is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a lot of the folks that I work with is either in Des Moines, Iowa, or Charlotte, North Carolina, and then there's some spread all over the country. But what we do is, a lot of times we work remotely. So there's, sometimes like we have one lady on our team that lives outside of Colorado Springs. We don't have an office for miles and miles and miles. but, you know, she just happens to have the skill set that was needed. So that is a nice, you know, not necessarily in that regard, but what it does is it's a disruption in the fact that you can't run next door and brainstorm with somebody. Now we have the, you know, we're instant message and we do things like that, but one of the things I think I miss most is that collaboration. You can ask questions, but you can't grab the whiteboard and, you know, kind of flesh something out and come up with some ideas and that type of thing. So, so I'd say that's one of our disruptions. The other one is just the volatile financial market. I mean, there's a lot of just disruption with innovation coming into the market. You know, we're a tried and true bank that has, you know, we do things a lot of the way we did 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And there's a lot of folks coming into, or a lot of companies coming into this space that's very innovative, that's offering things that, you know, we didn't necessarily do. So the company is focused on innovation, and so you'll notice in some of our commercials that we're innovating. So then that brings us to our department, which, you know, classroom training, some e-learning, but, you know, that's pretty much our offering. So we just hired a gentleman that is overseeing innovation within L&D. So very much kind of like lean has been disruptive to your agency. We hear grumblings about, you know, we want you to start innovating, say with a MOOC, or we want you to start doing video, you know, things that we haven't done before, more bite-sized type learning. We just got a new LMS that's, the whole purpose of it is that we're going to chunk all of our information. So that's our biggest disruption right now, is nobody really knows what it is, but we keep hearing that it is coming. so you know, that's kind of a challenge, and so we're all kind of making up what we think it is. When we hear a buzzword, then we run out and research it so that we have, you know, so we're knowledgeable. And then, you know, one of the reasons I'm connected with this community is, you know, I'm hearing terms like stride and all of these, you know, the one on, it's a where you can break apart, I can't remember who did it on the chat, or you can break apart the information and I guess what it be. Bitcoin is the only thing that's in my mind, but it's technology. You
Is
know,
that from Brian's session?
blockchain, thank you, yeah. You know, it was kind of interesting because I sat in on that. Then we get something posted about how the companies using blockchain. Oh, I kind of feel like I'm smart. So you know, it's just that need to constantly be able to try and stay ahead of something that isn't necessarily articulated, other than maybe these buzzwords. So that's probably our biggest challenge right now. We do have 2 positions open for instructional design consultants, if you're interested. So please see me, and I can tell you a little bit more about it or send you some information.
That was going to be my other question. I'll save those specifically for a little bit, but I'll just move on and just, you know, do you feel like Arizona and with Galvanize, what are some of the rumblings maybe that you've heard? I mean, obviously you guys have crafted classes and certifications and programs, right? That meet the needs. Like you guys probably did all sorts of analysis and decided, hey, this is the course, this is what we're going to do, right? And so I'm curious to know, what were those drivers? What brought you that way?
Well, we can't do anything about technology.
Go for it.
So I'm a visual learner, so
Awesome.
need to always see this. So, am I up there?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Bingo.
What's happening in Phoenix? What are people saying, and how does Galvanize fit in, right? So,
Perfect.
I nailed it.
You nailed it.
Didn't even know that's what we were
Going,
talking about. Got this. So the biggest thing that we're hearing, right? So you have to appreciate within the Galvanize community, our entire purpose, this is our 8th campus, our newest campus, and the entire purpose of this is to be able to really address the situations that are happening in tech hubs across the country. This being our 8th campus, you can see these stats. It is astronomical what's happening here in Phoenix, right? Like we were talking to about the beginning, of these companies coming to Arizona.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen McKesson? The monstrosity on the 101? Oh my God, it's like a whole city, right? And they're not done. That place is already full, right? And it is 90% full of their tech team. So just the amazingness of what is just McKesson. And then think about the other companies, Intel, right? So Honeywell, there's State Farm, there's Allstate. Have you seen USAA's facility up north? They have a 2018 plan to hire another 1,100 developers to support their systems, right? So what we're hearing, what we're seeing, and truly the disruption is the talent gap, right? The people with the skills who are needed, and the skills change. We all know technology changes. The second you blink, it changes. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how anyone keeps up with it. These are beautiful, passionate, excited human beings who love technology. I happen to just love education, so the technology part, not so much, but the purpose of then galvanizing what we're seeing and what we're hearing, and the reason we offer these 2 very specific course offerings, and in the depth that we offer them. We are not a boot camp. This is not a quick fix. This is for somebody who truly wants to change their trajectory, their family's trajectory, their career's trajectory, in order to become part of what is needed here in the Phoenix Valley. Our ecosystem is changing so much that employers have come to us, enterprise employers have come to us to say, we have these positions, we're hiring, we need these people with these skills. Our job description, the little piece of writing that intrigues people to come and apply to us, says bachelor's degree required, master's degree required. And so we have these conversations with people. Do you realize the number of qualified individuals you put off of that, and we're never going to come to your company, and then the lack of innovation and collaboration you are depriving yourself of because you're not open to the skills that you need to fill these jobs, right? Well, there's always a place, and I'm a true believer in, I have 2 masters myself, education is a huge priority, but when you look at the economy and where people are going, what's happening, the employer needs to understand that the degree isn't what makes the person the right person for the fitted job right now. The skill set is, the education can come with it, and repurposing with the talent pool they already have, or looking for new green talent to allow for these great, big, huge ideas. Like, I'll have to give Wells Fargo a huge shout out, because the most brilliant thing in my world is, oh my God, did you lose your debit card? We can help you through your phone. Who came up with that? And for someone who loses their debit card a lot, this makes life a lot easier. So the innovation that just simply happens, like, I mean, somewhere somebody along this company's route lost their debit card. It's like, I need cash now. How can I get this? I don't have my debit card. I'll make an app for that. Like, that's amazing. That's incredibly brilliant, right? But it takes somebody to have that realm of thinking to be able to come to what's happening.
Let me just interrupt you here.
Yeah.
Now we're getting there, but it's just,
Nope, I'm done.
it's just killing me. Well, how did they respond to that? Because that's the kind of thing that we have conversations about internally within the TLDC community a lot about degrees. We talk about degree programs every now and then amongst the community, and a lot of it is, do I go get one? Should I go get one? Should I learn the tool? If I need to just learn a tool, what's the latest tool I should learn, right? And how do I up my own skills in this space? So our businesses, as far as you can tell, becoming a little bit more open to looking for that skill set, and maybe not necessarily ignoring it, that's what we're looking for, but just not putting so much pressure on you gotta have a bachelor's or you gotta have a master's.
Right, so it's not a little bit, it's a lot of it.
A lot more.
Right, so it is now to the point where we're actually working with the larger corporations who are coming to look at our talent to figure out how to adjust their hiring processes in order to allow for individuals with the appropriate skill sets to have an avenue into their organizations. You know, it's the old school versus new school kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And how do we move? So if we want our company to move with the economy,
yeah.
our talent, our resource, our humans need to be moving with that as well. So in order to get there, 100% realizing it, and not to negate the importance of a traditional education, a university-sponsored education, but how can we then incorporate with these folks to say, hey, you have these skills, we'd really like you to become part of the team, here's a benefit we offer as far as completing your degree or finishing a degree or what have you. And really being able to maintain that. In fact, one of the companies that we work with has come to us and we're helping them revamp their tech team, specifically their hiring processes. And it essentially came down to, they have found that the best tech team that they have is a 30-person developer team that is made up of 15 computer science grads and 15 immersive grads. And they've put them together to find that you really have to get the best of the world. Like anything and everything we talk about, right, is, and how do we make the best possible employee base revolves around diversity, right? So if you need diversity in human beings, if you need diversity in every possible aspect of them, you need diversity in their education as well.
So, we really don't have the luxury anymore of putting that required. No. If we had a surplus of talent, then we have that luxury. Right. But in Phoenix and in other tech hubs, we have more jobs, more positions than we have people to fill. So that is a requirement that's got to go.
Now, where are they getting where are they building their skills if they're not doing it at the university?
In places like outweigh. So there are specifically educational vocational institutions that will train them specifically in that particular field. And quite honestly, a lot of them learn it themselves. They're that passionate about it. They're self-taught and they figure out these skills. And they go to facilities and places to get different sort of information, but they're so intuitive to the skills that are needed to truly advance their technology level.
And I know with us, and I'm Robert, working with Keepa, just up the road in Scottsdale, we look at that as part of our competitive advantage. We bring on new people right out of high school, right out of college. And we select those people that have that high level of tech, and they might be short in the soft skills. And we use that opportunity to pull people in and develop those soft skills as part of their mentoring, as part of their onboarding, as part of their employee experience. And that really has been successful for us because those people come in and they're there for 3 years, 5 years, and looking at statistics, with the newer employee workforce that we have, people hop around from job to job quite often, but we use those opportunities to provide a positive employee experience and build that loyalty. So oftentimes, it's those first jobs that somebody mentioned before in the previous talk where they just had to get a job. And oftentimes that's you cut your teeth. That's where you go from being a green engineer to a seasoned professional.
Yeah, it takes a lot, and a lot of different paths to get into any of this. And so it's like, my head is kind of spinning right now with all sorts of different angles we can take this conversation as we go along. That while I'm processing all of that in my head, I'll just tell a quick story. Michelle and I, in the back there, my friend, we were in we graduate school together. So we met at ASU in the EMC program there, and we learned our own tech, right? The school didn't teach us tech. The professors didn't even know the tech. It was all so new. So we had to go in to find the geeky guys that ran the lab and have them teach us how to run the computers and have them teach us how to do stuff because nobody else knew. So it was a technology program, but nobody knew how to run the tech except they knew the instructional design inside out. They knew the curriculum and instruction, theory and models and everything inside out. And don't get me wrong, it was a fabulous experience. It was great education. The department there is still great. Lily Savigny was going to come to the event. She's one of my favorite teachers from the program, but she wasn't able to make it. There is one person here, his name's Dan. Did anybody meet Dan Williams? Oh, there he is. Yes. I'm looking past you to look at Michelle. You're in the program right now, right? How's it going?
It's going good. They did transfer that to the program educational. Well, they transferred essentially to online.
Okay.
So you're kind of getting a real experience of where it's moving.
Perfect.
So you get all the challenges and all the bugs and kind of figure out how to work through all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. I just recently got reconnected there as well. So, so let's go back to slide, some of that data, because that was looking good too. Let's just start there. That was interesting to me in the sense that I also know you guys have a really high placement rate with people coming through your programs. And maybe you can speak a little bit to that as far as, how does that work? Because the other place would probably be like, no, how can you possibly do that? But
It is. It's just part of the growing economy and the need for tech skills, right? So, appreciate that every company nowadays, no matter who you are, what you are a tech company. Everybody, these skills are required everywhere for everything, right? So these vast amounts of opportunities available for people with these particular skill sets is astronomical. So it provides two amazing things. One, it provides truly a facilitation of skills to wanting and learning individuals to become part of this growing economy. And the other thing, it truly provides them a means to an end, which is supporting themselves, their families, their communities. So to our outcomes, so galvanized across all 8 campuses. Appreciate we're in Colorado, Seattle, San Francisco, New York, Austin, and Phoenix, right? So these are big tech hubs. These are not like little cities. We're in the metros where the companies are coming to, where they need the talent. So we're providing them with that said talent. So our outcomes right now, overall, for all 8 campuses, we are on an 87% placement rate within 6 months of graduation. From our web development immersive program, our starting average salary is over $70,000 a year, and our average starting salary from our data science program is over $100,000 per year. So this, as far as like, if you look at then, regulations, accreditation, what education looks like at a national level, as far as what gainful employment, what that's doing as far as supporting our economy, you don't get better than getting into tech. There's just no better way to really produce something, to produce a skill that is highly achievable, highly valuable within the market. So the outcomes from Galvanize, and appreciate again, so I don't know how many people are familiar with hearing the term boot camp, right? We're not a big fan of that. A boot camp is typically a 12-week or less crash course. And I'm sorry, but nobody wants to crash into this. It's not a good idea. So yes, perfectly said. So we're not a boot camp. So our founders really came to this vision of industry and education together. The abyss of what is technology and what you need to do to become a valuable person in a career in technology needs more than that. Our web dev immersive program is immersive, is 6 months full time. Students are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 for a full 6 months learning. There is a foundational knowledge base that they have to have in JavaScript, most likely it's development. But from there, we take them through leaps and bounds and teach them the full stack. And while a bootcamp will crash course, we teach you the full stack at this level, the immersive will teach it to you at this level. So it's really the depth of knowledge that you're gaining from our programs in order to truly become hireable post-graduation, which is why our outcomes are so amazing. Our data science program, the requirements to get in are a little bit higher. Typically, a person will have a background in some sort of STEM field, either education or years of experience. And that program, 3 months immersive, and similar to that, people coming out then within those fields of hire for data scientists are obviously incredibly valuable considering their starting base.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic point, and I finally got this all sorted out in my head. So as far as what we're talking about here at this event in our industry, and I'm going to drive this back to your experiences also, is there is the idea of, for what we do as professionals in this industry, is one, we all need to be better at the tech and learn. And these are some options for us as well, places not boot camps, but nice programs that are in depth and solid that you can go to and engage and learn these tools and get spun up. But the other piece is, how do we then utilize all of the new technologies? How do we use data scientists? I mean, when was the last time you ever thought to hire a data analyst into the L&D organization or onto the training team? You know, just, do either of you have data analysts on your team at all?
Not in my immediate team, but in our larger L&D, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely, because, you know, I mean, when you think about Kirkpatrick's or the Phillips, you know, adding ROI, being able to analyze and take that data and then communicate it back to the business or, you know, be able to tell that story to the senior executives, you know, they can do that. And it's a good skill for us to have as well.
Absolutely, that's what
So,
I'm driving at. It's
yeah.
a good skill for everyone. I think it's great. So the reason why I brought it up is that I don't know of any companies that have data analysts. So I have the 2 companies that have data analysts or thoughts about having data analysts on their L&D team, which is fantastic. Except I know Anna, I know she's just itchy, but she is a data analyst, which is the other reason why I wanted to bring it up, because you should probably be sitting here and talking about that kind of stuff. But it is important. So you have somebody on that, and Adele, you were shaking your head. It sounds like you guys have someone, or
I actually have a Java developer.
Oh, wow.
In my L&D team, in my OD function, and he's created a tracking application that does all of our loading ratios, and does all our analysis, and all of that.
We call him Java John, not only because he's JavaScript, but he also drinks a lot of Java.
So Java John, just, I don't want to, maybe to not drill too far down this one topic, but I'm really curious, how does he feel about being a part of the L&D organization and not part of the IT group with his colleagues and his peers in
Funny you should.
in tech, and because I think this is going to be an issue, and it's going to be an issue for instructional designers too that are on the team, and how do we communicate with these tech folks that are going to come crashing down on our departments, and we're all going to have to figure out how to work together. This is another one of those, it's a disruption that's happening that I don't think anybody's talking about, and so I think it's something we should address. So I'm really curious how John feels about it.
Well, it's interesting that you ask, because we actually had a hot minute where we were trying to help him on his career path and move him over into IT. Long story, HR, snafus. I want to keep him. and he actually wants to stay.
Oh, wow.
He actually wants to stay with us. Going back to your question about how do you recruit, retain people if you're paying them half what they could make out there, we got John. He's not quite done with his degree yet. He is getting incredible learning experience, not least of which is learning to talk the language of the person that he is serving. He's learning our business inside and out. So now he knows what that looks like and how he can learn when he goes to support a different kind of industry. So yeah, so now I have to figure out how to pay him more.
Because I was going to say, a Java developer right now can get a lot of money.
As a software engineer myself, transitioning into this, I'm fortunate in that I'm still getting paid software and opportunity to get paid as long as I'm with my current, I mean, software engineer money. But as I look into the future, and if this is a career pivot that I want to make, it's kind of scary, because I have been accustomed for 20 years of making software engineer money, and I look out on the horizon, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'll have to scale back my living a bit if I want to continue down this path.
Right, yeah, how does that work? I haven't been paying attention to time at all. Yeah, I started seeing it on there, so 1:56, that means we have 4 minutes. Well, gosh, that was pretty good. I had this sort of thing go off in my head that I should ask, and normally it's when I'm 15 minutes after. So this is pretty darn good for me. I'd like a round of applause.
So for all the tech nerds in the house then, because every new student has to sit through my orientation, of which there are an insane number of really, really dumb jokes, because they're my favorite. So for all the tech nerds, why is it called hypertext? Hypertext. Why is it called hypertext? John would know. Too much job.
I have to say, I interviewed Java John, I have never felt so ridiculously stupid in all of my life. I learned so much within an hour, and I think I understood maybe 10% of what he was talking about, and writing notes down, like, no idea what you're talking about. But it sounds really good, and I'd hire you right now.
Yeah, so anyway, so this kind of went into disruption and everything that we're doing, and I do want to stay local, I do want to stay connected with everybody and get, more connected with everybody that's in this industry in the Phoenix area. So I hope this was helpful in just kind of starting that conversation and shoot.
Let me ask a question. Of those that are here local, who would be interested in a monthly meetup? Just to get together and meet up. Okay, I'll get all of our addresses, and then we'll just find a place and I'll be closer. But yeah, we'll just get together, and what I'd like to do is just talk about maybe a problem you're having, and let's all try and work through that and figure that out, so that we can all get to know each other, rather than just knowledge. I mean, we'll find other ways to share knowledge, but I think it's just a matter of trying to.
It all starts with conversations in the community, and it's kind of what we're doing, with the TLD stuff every day. If you can't make it 9 a.m. Arizona time, hang out with us for an hour in the morning, just check out the recording and just hang out with us as well. So, anyways, thank our panel for sharing their stories and helping us get to know each other a little bit better. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the event for sure.
So,